All right, here we are.
How's it going?
It's going pretty good. It's going pretty good.
We got a little bit of a late start today. That's okay though.
Yeah,
It happens.
we were both working on the script for the next episode, and I worked a little too long, and then I realized like certain things that I assumed were ready on the stream were not ready.
Yeah, we were working on the script, and suddenly we're thinking like, well, it's actually kind of longer than we were anticipating.
Yeah, we might need to reel it in a little bit.
Yeah, I think that might be the case, and that's okay.
You know, the funniest thing about the video that released today, I did not catch it either, but there's so many comments that called you out on using a clip of you turning the soldering iron off.
Yeah, well, probably because I just I did it a couple times, and I just happened to use one that I didn't realize I was.
You just didn't think,
it's just I just liked how it looked and used it.
Totally fair. You know, I'm a little shaky on the universal on-off symbols. Like, it might sound like an embarrassing thing to admit, but in my mind, they have always been backwards, and I still struggle with that. Because, like, the line is on, the circle is off. Mm-hmm. But I've always, like, equated the circle, like, in my head, I always thought of that as, like, an LED. Like, that is on. And then the line is nothing. A line's nothing. So that's off. Yeah. So I don't understand why they're that way. That is always, like, from the first time I saw them, I was like, oh, this is backwards. And I've never fully gotten over it.
Let's see. Beef Curtain says their numbers 0 and 1.
They don't look like numbers, though. They don't look. I mean, saying that makes sense. I wonder if that's really what they're supposed to be, or if people are just like, someone was just like, oh, here's an easy way to remember it, and then that somehow took off on, oh yeah, that's what they're supposed to be, because they don't look like numbers. They don't look like numbers. It's, I don't like it. I've never liked that symbol.
Yeah. Well, either way, you know, it is what it is, and that's what it is in the video. Oh well.
Hey, I mean, you know, they got on me. They got the one where I had the shot of screwing in the RF cable. This still gets called out, and for whatever reason, I decided to horizontally flip that shot because I just thought it looked better. People were like, "You're screwing it in the wrong way." I never would have even thought about how flipping the video makes it look like I'm going the opposite direction. I never crossed my mind.
Well, either way, you know, I'm happy that people seem to like it.
Yeah.
They said, you know, this is an unexpected subject for a video. It's something that doesn't get really talked about all that often.
But I think it's something that that people have an interest in, but it's just like no one has really collected this information and presented it in a way where, I mean, it is certainly not a comprehensive video, but that could have never been the way it was done, because as we say in the video, like, you're going to have to figure some of this out, but here are some tips to help you figure it out, because what you want to do might be different from what we want to do.
Right.
There's so many things
we wanted to give you the basic tools to get started and think about what is possible, and think like, oh, I wonder if I can do this. Because now somebody left a comment about how they took a PC Diablo save and transferred it to a PS1 save.
I saw that, and that is so mind blowing. Like, I'm almost skeptical, because you would, like, back in those days, like, I've never played the PS1 version of Diablo, but like, so I don't know how similar it is, but like in those days, like, ports were radically different games. It shocks me that the save data would be so similar that it could be ported over like that. That is mind blowing, if true.
Well, now the next thing that I want to get into is I want to see if I can go into my game saves from the Phantasy Star collection, the Sega Ages 2500 Phantasy Star collection, and see if I can extract those specific saves out. And I wonder if I can do it if I just kind of looked at it and like in hex if I could find it in there.
Yeah, just I wonder, like, can you have two files open and be like, find the part of
something
this
that
file
matches.
that
like
is
I look
also
at
in
like
here.
if I look at an original save and kind of search for that header, see if I can find something similar and see if I can make that work.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'm going to go ahead and switch over to the gameplay window. So I'm going to play Gunlord X tonight, which we were actually given a review code for this. So why not stream it?
Yeah. This started out as a. I know there's a Dreamcast version.
Yeah, so I did some research. I guess it was originally made for the Neo Geo in like 2012 or something like that. I think it was 2012. So I think this is basically based on Neo Geo hardware. Let me unmute it on my speakers. And then it was ported to Dreamcast, and now it's on the Switch. I don't know if it's on other systems. It probably is, but the Switch version just came out, and it's very much meant to be inspired by Turrican, specifically like a European style shooter.
Right.
But there's I played through the first. I'm going to start from the beginning, but I played through the first level back when we were sent the code. It's pretty cool. So you actually could have scan lines, and I think it looks pretty good, and like it didn't look like it was bad on the stream.
On a stream.
So tell me if it looks bad. If it looks bad on the stream, I'll turn it off.
All right.
It's actually kind of good looking in the game.
I think I'm going to throw this out in the chat because I want I want to include this in the next episode, but every place I look, it's going to take me until mid-July for me to receive it. I'm looking for a micro SD TF card reader for the Dreamcast, so you can use it with Dream Shell, which
I love this opening. They say you cannot escape. You have no gun. No gun, huh? Activates gun teleport. I am the gun.
But I want to be able to use Dream Shell to download saves on my Dreamcast to an SD card. And like AliExpress sells them, but I won't be able to get it until like mid-July. And I looked on eBay, and every single seller is like in either China or Spain, and it's like I can't get one until it would be like mid next month. It didn't cover PS1 or PS2 memory card saves because that's going to be in its own video next. That's going to be the next episode. Because, I mean, it was long enough as it was. And it would be, if we included all of the stuff that we're apparently going to include in this one, it'd be an 1.5-hour video.
Yeah. I saw someone in the chat already say it was too long as it was, so that's why we split it off.
Right.
I have no idea which one's going to be more popular.
Well, I mean,
the
next one, it's not really as complicated, I don't think. There's not as much you can do because there's none of that excitement of writing it back to the cartridge and taking.
But I think it's also at the same time, it's probably also something people think more about.
Right, but I mean, like you think of like PS1 saves. You can to easily get those from a PS1 Classic, or a PS1 Classic, but the PS1 Classic on PS3 it's super straightforward. You just can do it right in the XMB. But that stuff is it's not quite as complicated or obscure for sure. Oh, we got a $9.99 donation from our good friend Scott Davis. Says, congrats on the new vid. I hope you all get some summer vacations. Otherwise, any E3 thoughts? Stoked about the possible Hyperkin Retro N64.
I read about I can't remember where it was, but I saw somewhere like someone talked to Hyperkin, and I guess there was some kind of, someone was looking at it and is like, oh, this is, they're using specifically this emulator, which, I mean, for all I know, I don't know if that's if there's anything wrong with that. For all I know, it could be allowed, but they were like, oh, it's using this exact emulator because it has this peculiarity that is in this emulator. And then I saw something from Hyperkin where they're like, yeah, we're actually not really sure what the file method is going to be. Maybe it's going to be emulation. Maybe it's going to be some sort of hardware on a chip. And I'm like, oh gosh, they don't even know what it's going to be. It's going to be emulation though. There's no way they can make a clone N64. I don't think.
We got a $24.99 donation from Frankie Beans 80, who says, wow, my request is you got to play The Messenger. It's on PS4, started this week. Will not be disappointed. Actually, if you look back through our archives, I played The Messenger. It must have been maybe about a year ago. I think I did a whole stream on it. It's a very, very good game. One of my favorites that I played last year. And it's pretty long. It's a pretty long game. And I'm sure, you might revisit. You're going to play it when you get the physical copy.
Right, because Special Reserve did that one. I forget when it's supposed to actually be delivered, though.
I wonder if
September, maybe?
Well, there's DLC coming out this week or something like that. So I wonder
are they waiting to include that on the cart?
I don't know.
Bloodstained is supposed to arrive tomorrow.
Oh yeah, same. Mine is too. I'm pretty excited about it.
Yeah,
to be honest.
I think I'm going to start it next week.
Yeah, I might too. I mean, depending on what my time frame is like. I mean, I feel like we're in a good groove in terms of releases. It's been every 2 weeks, even though. In a lot of ways, the last video, I don't think a lot of people really considered it a video. I mean,
not that many people watched it.
Yeah, for sure. And that kind of stuff is certainly not is not very popular anyways. So it's kind of nice to get back to a normal style episode.
Yeah, though. I mean, that was never meant to be we always knew that we weren't counting on that video being a big release or anything.
Right,
but it was still way worse performing than I ever expected. Of course, that was the day that YouTube had all those server problems, but
yeah,
that didn't help. But it is what it is. It's good to have a regular video again for sure. I don't fully understand everything that's going on in this game, like what the gyms do, what I've got this roll thing. I think the roll is similar to Turrican. I have not played that much Turrican. To be honest, I feel like I should love Turrican because I love running gun games, but I've never something about this is clicking with me more than the little bits I've played of any Turrican games. But yeah, I don't know what it is about Turrican. I just don't know.
We'll touch back on the E3 stuff really quick, but I want to some people are talking about my soldering technique, and like I said, it's novice technique, and
most people seem to think it was good for what it was. No one was heavily critical.
Right. Right. I mean, I don't think that based on what the job that I was doing, I think it was okay. And I think it just seemed to work pretty well to put the solder on the tip, like melt a little bit on and just kind of touch it to it really quick.
Is that a technique you had seen, or were you just like, oh, this works for me?
Yeah, I feel like I've seen Voltard say, apply a little bit to the tip of your iron and go. I thought that it was. I mean, it seemed to work just fine with the way that what I had to do with it. But like I said, it is just changing the battery. And I state that there are better ways to do it, and I'm sure there's people that are much better equipped. But I think the idea is that I wanted to just make people feel more confident about doing it.
Right. I mean, basically to say like, hey, I thought it was important to present in a way. I mean, yeah. I mean that's exactly it. Like, not make it look like this takes a pro to do it. Like,
right?
Because this is something that I should learn to do too. I mean, it's something that anyone who likes playing original cartridges should learn to do. And I think it's important to help people realize it's not as scary as you think.
Right. But I mean, yeah, that is the impression that I wanted to give. And I saw some people say, oh, like when you said you got this, like they felt motivated to be able to do it. And
people should make a GIF out of that.
It's funny because the way that it goes from the music transitions right after that part from the cartridge version of NHL 94 into the Sega CD version is like my favorite part of the video. Originally, like I didn't even have that music there. I had something completely different, and this is just the CD version. It's like with the guitar solo and everything, it just felt right.
I mean,
well, thanks, Bon Spy.
When I was reading the script, I saw, because I told you, like, your first pass of the script, you didn't really get into the details. I was like, well, this is for beginners. Like, I think they would, like, I would be frustrated if I saw this video and saw a beginner, like, trying to tell me I can do this and not really tell me enough to get going. Like,
the reason I think that at that time I was still of the mindset of doing all these different saves in one video, and I was like, okay, so I got to move through this stuff if I want to not have this be a million years long.
Right, and so when I looked, I didn't really change anything in the script. I don't think of when you. I should probably be using that. Like, what? Oh, okay, that's that blue thing. I should probably be using that more often.
That's your bombs.
What's interesting about this game is that it feels like there's a million ways you could go, but it seems to like funnel you in the right direction pretty well. Kind of like Sonic in a way, I guess. But anyway, I at that part in the script, I was kind of like, is that too cheesy the way you wrote that? And then, like, I was like, no, I'm just gonna let it be, and I'm glad I did, because like the way you delivered that was like so, like it was like I don't know, I didn't envision it being presented the way
in that way.
Yeah, it was just you nailed it.
Well, thanks.
Oops, I should not have hit that. I don't think this game has a like hold your heading. To be honest, I have no idea what my life bar is. Is it the red on the upper right?
Maybe it's the one in the middle on the bottom.
I don't think it is. I don't know what that is.
But anyways, back to E3 really quick. Oh, look at this! Look at this level.
This kind of looks like Thunder Force. Was it 3 or 4? 4.
Yeah, 4 a little bit. But yeah, I mean, E3 this year, I think that like I didn't really get too excited about very much.
You know, I feel like it might have actually exceeded my expectations, just because I don't know. I mean, I'm kind of like you. Like, I haven't felt the past few E3s all that much. And so I think I kind of had low-ish expectations, especially because Sony wasn't there. And I think I walked away pretty pleased. You know, like, you know, certainly Microsoft's was not amazing. You know, I was hoping they were going to show more of the next hardware, and they basically just did the same kind of pitch video that they did for, you know, Xbox One X back when they were still calling it Project Scorpio. Mm-hmm. You know, and they just said the same stuff we already knew Sony was saying, you know? Oh, look at this guy. Did I have limited continues? I couldn't tell.
Oh, I don't know.
But like I know we had a little bit of a debate about it, mostly because I think you're like really concerned about the multi-game thing, but like I freaking loved what they showed of Final Fantasy VII. Like I am pretty hyped. I'm pretty hyped. I thought they they nailed the tone. It doesn't feel like all of like the Advent Children, Dirge of Cerberus, Crisis Core tone.
No, I have no problem with like the looks of it. I just annoyed
nailed the
with
tone. The gameplay looks really good. Like I do not like Final Fantasy 15's battle system, and I was optimistic it wasn't going to be too much like Final Fantasy 7 or Final Fantasy 15, but like the fact that you've got that whole like, you know, you just do regular attacks and then you've got like the tactical menu like that. I was like, okay, I am on board with this, and the fact that you like jump between characters and like certain characters are good at doing, you know, certain things. That you know, so I mean, there's a reason to jump between characters and stuff like that. All that really sold me, and I'm definitely like I wouldn't say that there was like a game up till now that I would have considered myself like particularly hyped for. Mm-hmm. Like games I was looking forward to, sure, but nothing I was like hyped for. But like I am considering myself. Oh gosh, I'm definitely considering myself kind of hyped for. Whew, that was a short level.
See,
I'm
I understand. I understand for sure. You know, I think it looks awesome. It looks like it plays awesome. But I just like I have no desire to play this game over the course of the next 10 years.
I mean, I don't think it's going to be that long. I really don't.
Honestly, I think it's going to be longer than 10 years. Honestly.
No.
Really, they have no idea. They have no idea. If they've only been like working on Midgar, like how I bet you it takes them 5 years between coming out with a version that is like takes you out into the overworld. For sure.
I don't think so.
There's gonna, like, I mean, no, like I would.
Don't think it's going to take.
If it was somebody else developing it, I would say, okay, it's not gonna be that bad. But
well, here's the thing. I mean think about Final Fantasy 15.
It took Square like, yeah. Well, look. I mean, look at Kingdom Hearts 3. It took them like 8 years to make that or something stupid.
But once like actual proper development started, like the product that shipped with the final game, like that was not under development for that long. Like Final Fantasy 15 was only built like over the course of 2 years. The remake or the version 2 of Final Fantasy 14 was built in about 2 years, which is insane. Like an MMO.
Well, I guarantee you,
I mean,
between part 1 and part 2, it's going to be probably probably 3 years at least.
I would say 3 years.
If it is less than 3 years, I will buy part 2 for you. Okay.
I don't think that's going to be necessary. But I mean, seriously, like they've got their engine. They've got. You seem mostly worried about that.
I don't think it even matters about that.
I was trying to compare
it's the fact
this.
That, I think that there's going to try to put so much stuff in there, and like, even if they're really long and they really elaborate on it, like, I don't really care because we know where it's ending up anyways.
I mean,
that's the thing. You kind of like you compared it at for a bit. To like the Marvel movies, like, oh, they're gonna spread it out, it'd be like this ongoing thing, and that would I would understand that. I would understand that if it was a completely new story that wasn't ultimately going to end up in the same spot.
Like, I would be annoyed. I would be more annoyed, to be honest, if oh no, am I out of like? Please tell me I'm going to start it. Oh no. Collect all big diamonds in a stage in one to unlock more continues. Oh my gosh.
I mean, I like as Gerald in the chat is saying, I think it's pointless to split it up when we already know the entire story.
Well, see, I disagree, because I would be like, going into Final Fantasy 13, for example, we didn't know that there was going to be multiple. I mean, for all
because there wasn't
because
they obviously they did not design it with a way that it was going to be.
Not the plan.
I mean,
I would be annoyed though if, like, okay, Final Fantasy 16, like, we're going to be telling this huge story over the course of, the next 8 years or whatever. That would annoy me. Because it's like, I don't even know if Final Fantasy 16 is going to be good. Like, I know Final Fantasy 7 is going to be good.
But then, at least if it's not good, you can just like kind of write it off and be like, okay, I'll just either wait till it's completely done, and then maybe play it then. But I mean, I don't
know. I just disagree. Because here's the reason the whole thing.
I don't think that Square knows themselves with their like they don't even know themselves how long it's going to take.
I mean, here's the thing. Well, Marvel didn't either.
But they had, at least they could plan out entire phases of movies. I mean, kind of, but when they started the phase, they didn't know who the director was. I mean, the directors are the ones who basically. But they knew the plot points they needed to hit.
Yeah, but the movies themselves.
I think
of course
it's silly
they know
to compare
the plot
them
points
to.
they have to hit for Final Fantasy.
I mean, imagine if we knew the events of Infinity War when Iron Man came out.
Well, I mean, I don't know how closely it follows the comics,
it's still going to end up in the
there's obviously, I'm sure there are parallels.
Well, no, that's what I mean. It's like I'm comparing that to like knowing what's going to happen in Final Fantasy VII.
I mean, I don't know. None of this bothers me. Like the whole. I mean, here's my basic perspective on it. I am glad that it's going to be multiple games, because I think Final Fantasy VII is too big to do justice with the expectations that is on modern Square, with their presentation, their graphics, or just really on AAA gaming in general. Like, the budget that one $60 game would allow for could not. They're going to get to tell Final Fantasy VII's story in a modern way and do it justice, because they'll have the budget of, I don't know, I'm guessing 3 $60 games. I mean, that's just a guess, but because the original game was so representative. It was still that period of RPGs where, your battles take place on a separate screen. Your characters like go inside each other. Like, it's very representative. Like, you can't do that with modern Final Fantasy.
Which is why I don't think that they're going to be able to do it in less than 10 years. Which is just annoying to me. At that point, it just becomes annoying.
I think it's going to be 2 years between games. Because they've got a plan. The reason game development takes so long is, you know, because...
For most people, but Square, I don't feel like is capable of doing
but
that.
it takes a long time because it takes a long time because like they're prototyping, going through all sorts of phases and stuff. Like they've got their basics figured out with the first game. And I
do they though? I mean, like I feel like and part of me kind of makes me think that this first part is only going to go up until like
it's going to go up
I think that you're only like Tifa is going to be the last character that you get in your party.
You're going to get Eris. They will probably end with you meeting Red 13. I mean, not end, but they'll probably add like a Sephiroth or a Genova fight at the top of the Shinra Tower, and that's the Shinra Tower is going to be the final dungeon.
Oh, I don't think that.
You'll fight Genova, and that's probably going to be the final.
If you're going to be going to the overworld in the second part,
they already said that it's going to be Midgard.
Right. I think the first two games are going to be Midgard.
No, the first game is going to be Midgard. There's no way that they're going to make you.
I don't know if they gotta pad out Midgard to be 40 hours long.
Well, then why do you think it's going to be 2 games for Midgard?
Because I think that they're gonna get they're too ADD. They're gonna get too like into other stuff, and then it's just gonna be. I think it's gonna be 2 games before you get to even the overworld. And I think the main reason they're gonna do that is because they don't know what.
They don't know what
they're gonna do when they get out to the overworld, because it's kind of like, oh my god, how do we do this now?
I mean, I think it's basically going to be like, I think it's going to be like modern Dragon Quest style, where like, or you know, maybe something more akin to Final Fantasy, 11 or 12 or 14, where you've got like these field areas that are kind of to scale, but like you don't necessarily go to like every corner of the world like you could in the original game, which I'm okay with.
I mean, I feel minimum it's gonna be 5 parts.
I
think it'll be interesting to see what happens, but
well, regardless though, I think well, I mean, obviously it's what I kind of hope, it's coming out in March, and I've been theorizing like Sony should try to release the PlayStation 5 in March, because that's what Nintendo did and it worked for them. Like, why waste a holiday season on people who were going to buy it day one anyway? Like, let your early adopters get their stuff before the Christmas season, so that people who want to get it for Christmas could actually find one,
Yeah.
So wouldn't it be pretty insane if like it came out the same day as the PlayStation 5 and, obviously had enhancements for it? I mean, that would be pretty cool.
I guess.
I
don't know.
I'm having a hard time understanding your uncertainty with it, but like Nintendo's show was pretty solid.
Yeah,
I was really impressed with Animal Crossing. Like, it looks like they're finally really changing it up.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't like after the direct. I didn't really watch anything else.
I watched a little bit.
So,
I feel like the big surprise for me, like that Seiken Densetsu 3 remake, like the fact that that's a thing at all, like,
well, yeah,
it just doesn't feel like that should even exist. Like, and it looks pretty good. Like, it's obviously not like, I mean, it very much, I'm assuming it's Unreal 4. It looks like Unreal 4. But, like, you know, obviously it doesn't look as good as, like, Dragon Quest 11 or anything, but it...
No, I think it's good because they needed to, like, I think they took the feedback of the Secret of Mana remake.
Yeah,
which I really liked.
It does, I think from the bit I've played, I don't mind it at all either, but like,
but I think
it
does
really
feel
good.
very budget. It's very budget.
Oh sure, but this looks pretty legit. I mean, it's got like you know, behind the character perspective and everything. I mean, I don't understand what is going on here.
I'm very excited that the Seiken Densetsu, or the
is it okay to
the collection of mana, you know, is come out, and
there's uncertainty though as to whether the physical copy is going to like require download, if it's going to actually have a game card.
Oh, I think it's been cleared up at this point.
Oh really?
Like they're all gonna have like.
Why was there that one picture though that had the?
I don't know. I think that it was. I don't know exactly.
Early.
Yeah, it was either early or it had something to do with, because it was just like on the Nintendo store, I think, wasn't it? Or you followed the links from the Nintendo stuff, but it's all fixed now. I think that people will be pretty annoyed if it does require a download. But I mean, to be fair, I have the Japanese copy, and I did get myself a copy of the extracted ROM of.
Have you heard much talk about how people feel the translation compares to the fan translation?
I think it's generally considered to be a lot better.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And using the knowledge of save games, I was able to take your playthrough of the hacked version that you played through using the
fan translation.
The fan translation
through
like a
super.
super
try names.
Yeah, with the super UFO, and I was able to use that with that. Except for the only thing that was wrong is that it just shortened all your names to shorten your name to T, and you just like use the first letter.
Oh, really? That's interesting.
Yeah.
So it wasn't perfect, but it worked. It was in the there were three saves.
Yeah, I mean they're all there.
That's awesome.
I'm curious about the TurboGrafx Mini.
I want to know who's making it.
Yeah, I mean,
it's probably whoever made. Probably, I bet it's whoever made. Am I going backwards? I think I'm going backwards.
It's going backwards. Because Gunlord is on backwards.
I lost my train of thought. What were we talking about?
I don't remember. The TurboGrafx 16. We wonder if it's being made by.
I bet it's the same. I bet it's whoever made all of those TurboGrafx Wii U releases. They like all came out.
Yeah, but those had like a soft name filter on them too, like anti-aliasing filter. So hopefully it's.
I mean, I've never tried one, but it's like that's just like the weirdest thing to me. That like, didn't they do all that like after the Switch was out?
Yeah, I don't know. But someone's asking if either of us have the SNES, SD to SNES Pro, and we do not. I mean, I'm excited about that. I'm excited about Phantasy Star Online. But there's not. I think just after the press conferences, like I stopped paying attention. I was like working on a bunch of other stuff all week, so I'm just in a good place where once I know what I want, I stop looking. And I think it's more fun that way.
I understand that.
Are either of us getting the Metal Storm NES game? I kind of want to get that. The Metal Storm, Retrobit and Limited Run Games is doing a physical release of Metal Storm.
Oh, okay. I mean, that's definitely tempting. I'm always curious, like, what the actual makeup of, these reproduction cartridges are. I bought that Shabibin Man Zero. I've since heard that, like, I guess the internals of the Columbus Circle reproductions aren't, like, super good.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I'm curious because I ordered they did Glay Lancer. Hopefully
yeah, I was
okay.
tempted to get the Glay Lancer, but I didn't. I did play through that Shabibin Man Zero.
Oh, the Retrobit Metal Storm is the English translated version, which is pretty cool. Yeah, I definitely am more tempted by that than I have been like by some of their previous ones. Although I would have liked to have gotten the R-Type 3 that they did. What was the other one that they did? The Holy Knight, like or was it Holy? No, it wasn't Holy Knight. It was Holy Knight was the fighting game. Forgot what it was called. Either way, like I was kind of Holy Diver. That's it. I mean, that's all right, but it just the game itself didn't really interest me that much.
I don't know,
because I knew it'd be a pain to beat, anyways.
Even like some of these official reproductions that have been coming around, I'm definitely curious, but I'm also just like, I don't know. I guess I have a hard time being sure where my interest lies. I don't know. I just have a hard time committing to like being like, oh yeah, I definitely want that. Like, it's official, but there's I guess just still this nagging feeling that it's like it's not the real thing either.
Yeah, but I mean, at least it's closer.
Yeah. I mean, like if Square made a English Seiken Densetsu 3
right
cartridge, I don't know if I would necessarily prefer that over the collection. Like, just because it's like that collection is, I mean, it's emulation, but it's designed to work on the Switch. Like, even if it was on a Super Nintendo ROM, it's like, well, it's not manufactured the same way as a Super Nintendo original Super Nintendo cartridge. Probably not,
Yeah, but I mean, technology changes and improves or gets worse depending on how much money you spend.
I don't expect it.
Or how the people that you hired knows what they're doing.
Yeah, I mean, if like, someone like smart, like, I mean, I'm not necessarily like concerned about like damaging my system or anything, but like if someone smart like Renee looked at it and was like, oh, the makeup of this cartridge is at least as good, if not better, than Super Nintendo cartridges were made back in the day, then I might be like, okay, like, I don't know. Like, for me, it would have to be like equally as good, if not better, for me to like be interested in. Otherwise, it just kind of feels like, I don't know. I mean, don't get me wrong. Like, I'm glad these are things that exist, but I'm just like, I'm such an original cartridge guy that I don't like. I mean, I have a hard time committing to playing a game even on a flash card. Like, I use them as tools, but like to actually play a game, I just can't work up much enthusiasm to play it that way.
Yeah. So some people are saying that my voice sounds weird. I might be sped up and high pitched.
You sound normal to me, unless it's just weird on my computer for some reason.
Yeah, we'll see what people say. Clockwork Bard is saying to use your beam. It destroys bullets.
Is the beam that screen crash thing?
No, I think it's the you probably have like as a if it's anything like Turrican.
Oh,
you have like a
is
beam.
it the? I forgot. There's a.
Yeah.
I remember I read about this somewhere. I forgot. There's a. It's on the right stick. I'm playing with the SM30 Pro, so I'm not in analog stick mode. Does it actually hurt enemies though, or is it just destroy bullets?
I don't know.
You stand still when using it.
Yeah.
So that could actually be very nice.
I'm a little louder, slightly distorted. That's okay. I mean, it is what it is.
Distorted? I mean, I've got you turned
so I went
fairly. I'll turn you down a little bit.
Yeah, I don't know if maybe it might be my fan that's running up here.
Oh, I don't know. I mean, you sound normal to me.
Maybe a tiny bit of clipping.
I mean, it doesn't look like you're clipping on my end.
I can turn myself down a little bit. That might be a little better. So I finally went and saw Godzilla King of the Monsters today.
Yeah.
And it's pretty good. It's pretty good. I liked it a lot. I mean, I'm looking. I'm interested to see what they're going to do for the next one. But I don't know how they can go like bigger than this. But it'll be interesting. But I mean, the next one will be the last one probably, because I don't think this one did very good.
Oh really?
Yeah, it didn't do well at all. Yeah, next one is Godzilla, or is King Kong versus Godzilla.
Oh, so
which is is cool, but
that's also kind of like a thing that's already like in a versus style plot, like are they going to change who wins from the original?
Well, I mean, I don't feel like there was like a super clear winner in the original.
I thought it was always. I
as
thought
long
it was pretty
as
well established that King Kong won.
I hope that King Kong's jams a tree in Godzilla's mouth. I feel like that's got to happen.
Was that I've only seen the original once, and it was a really long time.
There's a lot of cool things that I liked about this. That as someone who like grew up watching Godzilla movies, and there's a lot of little nods to you can imagine the plot exploring certain aspects in future movies if they were going to get made. Mm. You know, just like the names of places and stuff like that. You know, it treats the lore, I guess, with a lot of respect. I felt.
Mm. I mean, from what I've seen, like, it's so interesting to me that, you know, the first.
Eric, I will try to come see you this week. I mean, like, again, since our second car died, it's hard for me to get out during the day if my wife takes the car to work. I will try. Okay, go ahead. Sorry.
Like the first movie in this series was, you know, pretty normal Godzilla fare. You know, it was, you know, you've got Godzilla and another monster. You know, a monster that they made up for that movie.
Right.
And then Skull Island I haven't seen, so I don't really know what to expect there. But like, it seems like from what I've seen like part of the trailer for this one, and it looks like they like up the ante like insanely fast. Between like you start off with 2 movies, and then it's like all the famous monsters. All of a sudden. We got a
$5 donation from Mitch B.
Oh, thank you.
He says, working late, so won't get to watch the stream till tomorrow. Great episode today. I commented on the I commented on the off switch. One question: is a hot dog a sandwich? I don't think it is. A hot dog's a hot dog.
I feel like this is this like a common question, because I feel like I've heard that before. That question.
I don't think I've never heard it before.
I mean, I think I wouldn't expect a hot dog to be sold at a sandwich shop. But at the same time, like, the shape of a hot dog bun is similar to like a sub. A sub is a sandwich. Right. So I don't really know what makes a hot dog different from a sub. But I will agree, a hot dog does not feel like a sandwich. But I think it might meet the technical specifications to be one.
Yeah, I don't feel that it's as a sandwich.
I don't feel passionate about the subject.
But I do like me some subs though. I'm a big fan of subs. My kids have never had subs because they won't eat like lettuce or anything still. So I realized, you guys haven't had subs. You guys have never had subs.
It's so crazy to think that it was like how long it was before I was like willing to eat lettuce, because it's like the most innocuous vegetable.
Oh.
But like
you can call a sandwich a hot dog. That's true. Or for music, that's right. You wouldn't call a sandwich a hot dog.
Well, yeah.
That's what I mean. That's what I'm saying. Is hot dog's a hot dog.
Yeah, I mean, you might call a burger a sandwich. I mean, you know.
Oh, yeah, I would call a burger a sandwich.
I mean, I was at a restaurant.
Dang, you hear that thunder?
No.
That was like a single.
But I was
crack of thunder. That was really loud.
I was at a restaurant with my parents earlier today for Father's Day, and they had hamburgers in the sandwich section. I mean, I think that's a pretty common thing.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, I had speaking of like thunder, I had a crazy morning or late night this morning where we had a flash flood warning, and the we had problems with our basement flooding before. Just so you know, like I'm in the attic. Like our basement is just like brick and like old house basement. But it does if it does flood, you know, I used to have it used to get up to, at times it would get up to like almost my knee.
Jeez.
And we've like taken a lot of precautions to kind of deal with that. And you know, we installed a rain bucket in the backyard, that our downspout. We drilled a hole in the downspout and put like a big tube that goes out into this rain bucket that's like gigantic and would fill up. But for some reason, this storm we had last night, came down to like 2 sets of flash flooding. The first time it was not so bad, and the second time I got pretty full down there, and you know, we had the sump pump running and everything. It was. Oh, so I didn't see that Volt Tower had some flood damage. Yeah, we had some significant flooding, but it was in an attempt to displace the water. I had these big plastic bins that, you know, when we moved here, we brought clothes and stuff in them, and I took all the clothes out, put them on the table that was down there, and started scooping the water and putting it in there. And it was, I don't know if maybe I can share it on here. I can show what it looked like. Hang on, I'll see if I can share it with the chat. Give me a second. But yeah, it was pretty nuts. Oh, here we go. This is, let's see if I can send this here. No. Why is it upside down?
I keep forgetting to use my stand still and my right stick thing.
I just uploaded this photo and it was upside down for some reason. Dang, so let's try this. It's gonna work. This is so stupid, but it might work. Look, I cannot open this thing. It's like upside down every time. Let me see if I can. I'm trying to share this picture, but it's upside down every time I try to upload it. Whew. You know, Zed lost a whole house in flooding, including best in my game collection. Oh, I can't even imagine.
Like just now or a long time ago?
Let's see.
I think I was facing the right side. I feel like they always place you facing right, even if like you're supposed to be heading left.
Well, this one's sideways. This is a little bit more manageable, but you can kind of see the bins that I filled up.
Uh-oh.
Sorry, it's sideways, everybody. That is a base mount leak. I don't know why they all show up upside down. It's so stupid.
Now it continues.
But it was, you know, we had the sump pump running, and it was kind of the first time we've gotten to use the sump pump. And it worked pretty good. Well, it's only nasty right there because I'd probably been kicking around in the, like, down there so much.
Like, I honestly have no idea what does stuff in this game. Like, I have a pretty good handle on what the basic gun pickups are, but like the other stuff, I have no idea why I'm picking it up. I don't even know what's a health refill, if there's a health refill.
But I was doing that at 4 a.m. last night.
Oh, really?
4:30 a.m. Yeah.
Like, was it just like you woke up hearing it rain so hard that it's like,
no, the problem is like I hadn't gone to bed
oh,
yet.
really?
I made the amateur mistake of, so yesterday I decided to, sometimes if I have like a real hard time like writing a script, I try to just like get out as much as I can and go someplace else and do it. Mm-hmm. And I went to like the local record shop that's also a coffee shop, and I was there for like probably a good like 5 hours working on it. And I made a mistake of having an Americano like at like 8 o'clock at night. So, I mean, really, I went to bed at after that all happened. So it was probably like 5 a.m. by the time I like finally went to bed. Okay. And then I woke up at 9 this morning because I knew I had to like. Well, I wanted to be awake for when the new episode went live. But then when I woke up, like all the power was out everywhere around here.
So you checked the basement like when you got back home, or no, you were already home.
I was already home, but I just kind of I checked the basement because once the flood warning popped up on my phone, it's like a like an alarm, like it's like a warrant they send to everybody. You know, it says flood warning in this area until it's been a problem until 6 a.m. So, yeah, so I was like, I'm just kind of keep an eye on it. So one of the things I found out this afternoon is that when I went back to look at the rain bucket to see how much it filled up, and it turned out that the tube connecting the downspout into the rain bucket had like fallen out.
Oh wow!
So nothing got into the rain bucket. Do we ever worry about a power surge from thunderstorm? You've had problems with that before.
Yeah, well, this wasn't even a storm. A few weeks ago, my Samsung TV has had this problem a few times where after the power went out, even if it wasn't like caused by a rainstorm, just the power went out. There have been a few times where my older, the 1080p Samsung, would not, the HDMI ports just wouldn't work. And I read that if you unplug a TV and, you know, wait like 20, 30 minutes and plug it back in, the HDMI ports will work again. And that worked. And that happened at least one or two other times, and it worked again. But then just the other week, it happened again, and it was not coming on after 2 attempts of having the power off for a while. And then so I had it off. I unplugged the plug, plugged it again, and I think left it off for like a weekend, and then it worked again. But my dad had a similar situation with his Sony HD TV, and the HDMI ports never worked again. He actually used, for a number of years, he used component video for the for TV from his cable box. He used component instead of HDMI. He was like, I think component's better than HDMI. I'm like, well, they aren't actually really all that comparable. Because I mean, one's analog, one's digital. But I mean, I don't think HD component is not bad. But I was trying to tell him it's not technically better. But
you've had problems with that happening from time to time. I mean, it's happened several times, really.
Yeah, it's happened several times, but it came back. But his HDMI ports never came back, and then sometime last year, that Sony TV just totally died. So he's got a 4K LG now. Not that he really has any 4K content, but. I don't know if it looks as good as the old Sony did, though. I mean, he didn't want to spend a lot of money on a TV, so it's not like an OLED or anything. It's a relatively, in terms as far as LG goes, it's something of a budget model, but it's okay looking, I guess. I haven't tried playing any games on it.
We have a lot of crappy spam in here tonight. Like the thing is, like I in what world do any of these people think that this works? They think like, oh my gosh, like, you know, I really am gonna click this message. Like who? Like the people that actually like run those things, like who thinks that does it actually work enough for it to be worth their time?
I mean, people have been doing it since the dawn of the internet, right? So there must be.
Yeah, well, I mean, I can like I mean,
but I know where you're coming from. Like, yeah, in what world does someone click on that? Like, I don't
like for emails. Like, you're always gonna get like they'll always be able to rope in, you know, some people that really don't know. Yeah, like grandma and grandpa that really don't know a lot about
what
computers.
to look for.
But I mean, you're gonna go into something like a live stream on YouTube, and you're gonna. Do you think that like anybody in here is gonna be like is gonna feel like that it's gonna work?
I've been
and then Joshua is like, I clicked all of them twice.
I've been thinking about. I mean, you know, when it comes to people who just are not at all internet or computer savvy, like it's just like a fact that they're going to install things in their browser that they shouldn't.
Right.
Like, it is just a fact, and you know, my dad's computer is slow and stuff. And I've been talking to him about like, you know, I bet your computer would still be good if I like installed a lightweight Linux on it. Like, I don't think there's anything he does.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he doesn't install any software intentionally anyway. You know, like he just needs like he already uses OpenOffice. Like, well, that was made by Linux nerds anyway. You know, like all he needs is OpenOffice and a web browser, and you know that's all he needs. And so, like, I've got like a lightweight computer here that like I don't want to give it to him, but I've been saying like I'll install like an up-to-date Linux on there, and if you like it, then I'll put it on your computer.
Yeah,
I just haven't gotten around to it, but I feel like that would be like, you know, for old people that don't need to do anything fancy with their computer, like I feel like a lightweight Linux could be a good solution. Like
I think Wrestling with Gaming is in the chat. Oh. I was watching his stream last night. Wrestling with Gaming is his stream last night with Jimmy Hoppa, and that's when I had to go down to the basement and deal with the flooding.
So he was up at interesting times too.
Yeah, well, I think he's on the.
Oh yeah, that's right.
He's on the West Coast. So it's like it's a bit more manageable for him. Yeah, he was playing why can't I think of the name? The Oregon Trail, yeah.
I happened to randomly I'm writing sort of our, you know, game tech documentary.
Mm-hmm.
And I went to the Retro RGB YouTube channel to like check a few things. And I just randomly happened to see that Bob was streaming yesterday afternoon. He was making a I think a capacitor list. I don't know what model it was, but he was making a capacitor replacement list for some CRT. So I don't know if he was using his phone or I don't know what he was streaming from, but he had like a camera in a position where he was like looking inside the CRT and like,
oh yeah,
calling out all of the different capacitors that were.
I should do when I'm making this next episode, I should do another B-roll shooting stream on the Twitch. It's actually kind of funny because so I have like my set up in the kitchen up here in the attic, and when I've shot enough, I will pop out the memory card, bring it in here, and copy it over the computer. Mm-hmm. I recently set up my old computer in the kitchen so I could do like B-roll streams directly from it, without having to run a cable all the way in here. And I thought, well, what if this computer's like hooked up to the network? I'll just leave a USB-C cable in here, and all I need to do is just like plug it into my camera, and I can just like drag the files from that camera directly over to my computer.
Oh,
so having or I can like pull it actually if I came in here and just like, plug that USB cable in. I can just like pull it off that camera as I need to.
Is it a slower transfer though?
It's about half the speed as they would normally be, but the clips are not going to aren't huge anyways.
But do you think it actually saves you time?
Well, I mean, it would save me wear and tear on the pulling the SD cards out repeatedly.
Sure.
But I mean, it might save me on time.
I actually didn't realize that the GH4
and that I don't have to constantly, I do a lot of back and forth if I, forget the memory card. I'll always be able to like to leave it in the camera.
Yeah, my memory card. I mean, it's just a little flap, but my memory card on the Zoom H4n is the flap is broken. Like it.
Yeah.
It closes, but it's not. It's not closed.
Yeah. I see that Blade Blur is wondering if the next episode will be about controller pack saves, and I wonder if it'll cover PS1 and PS2 saves because, man, it's hard to work with those. Yes, the next episode will cover backup RAM carts for the Sega CD, and the Saturn, and the Tenneco bank for the PC Engine, and then all manners of memory cards. And I'd like to include the Dreamcast one, so I will throw this out into the chat once again. I really want to get one of the USB things that plugs into the serial port on the Dreamcast, and you can use a program called Dream Shell to copy your saves from your VMU to that. The thing is that all of the places to order from, everything is in China. And if anybody in the chat has one that they would like to lend me to use on the episode, send us a message like on Twitter or something, or whatever, or email.
Pretty soon.
Yeah, it'd have to be like within like the next week or so. I'd like to have it because I want to include that. But if I order from any place, it's like not going to be here until mid-July.
And we really want this to be the next episode because we kind of already said it would be in the episode, which you were nervous about, but I was like, oh, it'd be fine.
I don't think you need a custom BIOS. I think that you just plug it in and it's like a program burnt onto a CD, and it can access that. But maybe not. Maybe there's more to it. Right. So the thing is, the RAM carts, like I talked about the official stuff, but there's also like workarounds, I guess. If you want to be able to save keep these things like on your computer, which is a big part of what these episodes are about. I mean, I talk about the Mega EverDrive, and that you can use it as a RAM cart, and it creates a single file on the SD card, and you can back that up. You can make as many of them as you want. So it talks a lot about that kind of stuff. Like with if you have a Tenneco bank, you can do something very similar if you have the SSDS 3, like the Super SD System 3. that creates individual saves, or you can also have a file that encapsulates the entire internal RAM. So all that stuff is going to be in there. And somebody's saying, but there's nothing available for Saturn, is there? But there is something available for the Saturn, and it is. I can't believe that it actually exists, and it's made by this one guy. And I've told him, I've told him that like once I release the episode, that I'll let him know, like when the date it's going to be released, so that he can. I told him to make a bunch of them so he can put them up on his store. So hopefully they will be available for people that wants it. But there is something. It's interesting. I've never really seen a video on it, although there is like a how-to video on it.
I'm curious what Blade Blur thinks is difficult about PS1 and PS2 saves, because I feel like they're really easy.
Yes. Yeah.
So the only reason I'm asking is like, are there some concerns that like I need to be aware of that I'm overlooking?
Let's say PSIO, I have my PS1 games on there, but I realize I have no space for all of them. It would be amazing if it supported save backups.
Yeah, I agree. That would be nice. I mean, the
fact of the matter is, it's going to be like there's no real easy way to handle like juggling multiple saves on the PS1 alone.
Right.
But I mean, if you have something like a Dex drive,
or
like a Dex drive, and there is like there's a homebrew program called MemCard Rex, which you can use to it's a more modern, easy to use version of what the Dex, using a Dex drive software is kind of like.
Are Dex drives like what do they even sell for? I mean, obviously they're on the second.
I don't know. Like
market,
there is, I thought about getting a N64 one for a while because they are available for like brand new on eBay for like under $20.
Oh wow! I mean, so you're borrowing my N64 one, which I never did that much with. Like, I know I backed up some saves, but I couldn't tell you where they are. They're probably on floppy disk.
Yeah. Yeah, so backing up to, I mean, if you don't have the official, like the PS3 adapter, then
those are like $40 to $50 on eBay.
Yeah, I mean they're
like, I think a lot of people didn't know they existed, and when they found out, they're like, "Oh my gosh!"
Well, and they only made them for a certain amount of time. Like once they switched over to like the Slims, they stopped making them. Because at that time, backwards compatibility was no longer a feature.
Well, other than
they were like really talking about.
I mean, obviously you can do PS1, but they were more invested in selling PS1 classics, obviously.
Right.
Like they weren't promoting the fact that you could play your discs. Really, they weren't.
Right, and NeoZed is totally correct. Is archiving your PS1 saves to a PS2 memory card is a good way
which is
what I did for a long time.
Yeah, I think a lot of people don't even know you can do that, because why would you even discover? Like I discovered that back when I played Suikoden 3, because I was like, okay, it tells me I can load Suikoden 2 data, which I had not played 2 at the time, but a friend gave me his save to import into Suikoden 3, so I thought, yeah, why not do that?
And see, Blabler didn't know, so like now suddenly he's like, oh,
yeah, exactly. I mean, because like if my math is correct, like PS2 memory cards are like 60 times as much space as a PS1 card. So, yeah, so like that, like. So when I don't even remember how I figured it out, or if I read it, But like,
Blizzard, you can. Oh, wait, I just you can transfer from PS3 back to the memory card. You have to add that save to a virtual memory card first before you can do it.
I want to say that I read somewhere that early PS3 firmware did not allow you to transfer back, but you definitely can.
Yeah, I mean, you just can't do it if it's just like in your save list. You actually have to take that save and apply it to put it on a virtual memory card, and then you can copy it. I don't know. I've had no problem doing it on the 3 different systems I've had. But I mean, I think it's safe to say that that episode will be a lot less hacky, I guess, than the one that just came out.
Yeah, a lot of it might just be stuff that people just don't know you can do, like that.
Right.
Like, because like I say, well, I would have never discovered that you could do that if it weren't for the fact that it's like, oh, Suikoden 3 can't read the PS1 memory card to import the data, but, oh man, this part's hard. But you put it on a PS2 memory card for it to read the data. Now, it's important, you know, you cannot, even if you're playing PS1 games on a PS2, you can't use a PS2 memory card while playing a PS1 game. So you still have to put it back on a PS1 memory card, but you can store everything on a PS2 memory card.
But I mean, I hopefully people like it. You know, like the RAM cards are something you gotta think about, because the Sega CD RAM card is has a lithium battery in it, so that'll. I mean, like I say, worrying about one save game is hard enough, but imagine having like one battery in charge of every single game that you have for the system.
I'm curious if people in the chat are more curious to see what we do with games that are, you know, stored in system memory and you have to use like RAM cards to move them, like Sega CD or PC Engine CD, or Sega Saturn. Or are you more interested in seeing like memory cards like PS1, PS2, GameCube, etc.? I'm just curious because the episode starts with, I mean, a lot of information about the internal stuff. And
right. And we could always switch the order, because
right. I mean, because at first I was like, oh, when I looked at the script, I'm like, that's a lot of talk before we get to memery cards. And I'm thinking like,
yeah, maybe
people
it needs
be
to be
more
the other way
interested in
around.
memory cards. But then on the flip side, I thought, well, maybe since people will know the memory card stuff is coming, maybe they'll stick around. Because I mean, I'm just like speaking from my perspective. Like, I, you know, am obviously not as big of a Sega CD guy or a Sega Saturn guy as you are. You know, so those early systems that stored the saves on the you know, I don't have that many PC Engine CD games. Which, I mean, to be totally honest, I would say I'm more interested overall in PC Engine CD games than I am Sega CD. But, you know, that's beside the point. Oh man, this part's really hard. But anyway, I don't know. I'm just curious what people are more interested in, because maybe they're like, oh, memory card stuff is pretty straightforward anyway. Like, I don't need to know anything about that.
Yeah. But I mean, the other stuff is like, I just felt like it feels like a natural lead-in as
I agree,
two-parter.
because like historically, I guess that did come first. I mean, you might know this because obviously you're more into the Neo Geo than I am. I was doing a little research, and I didn't know that there are Neo Geo memory cards.
Right.
Apparently, you can use them in the. You can like take them from the AES and then use them in the arcade.
Yeah, but I mean I don't have access to them, and like I mean that's not something we're gonna really get into.
Right.
And you know, like I'm gonna have kind of a quick rundown towards the end of like newer systems, because I always make it a habit of backing up all of my current gen stuff to a flash drive. I just keep a flash drive in each of my systems, and once I'm done playing a game, I just copy that to the flash drive. Oh, we got 5 New Zealand bucks from Retro Revolutions.
Thank you.
Hey boys, how is things? Been doing some coding on these PSP controllers, and it's going well. PSP controllers. Looking forward to seeing how it comes together.
Relevant to my interests.
But yeah, so I think that'll be fun. I mean, it's hard to say what the general interest and reaction is to a lot of this. I mean, there was people that commented on saying like, I
extreme passion for this subject, but I don't think that's to say that I don't think other people are interested.
Right.
Like,
I mean, there are some people saying like,
did you ever delete like a PlayStation 1 or 2 save to like make more room?
No, I'd always just get more.
Never.
And more.
See, it was so interesting. Like I just never really when I first got my PS1, I got a 2-pack of memory cards. It was like the transparent green and the transparent blue. And I just never considered getting another. It just never crossed my mind.
Well, I used I have a Dex drive, and I used it when it was new, and I was able to recover a whole bunch of saves that I had burned to a CDR.
See, I had a Dex drive as well, but I don't really remember making great use of it.
Yeah.
Like I probably backed up the save. Like if I needed to save, open up space, I probably put something on my computer, and just in my head, I'm like, there, I did it. You know what I mean? Like I backed it up. It's good. When I need it, I'll come back to it. But like, I didn't really need it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I never went back to it. I forgot about it, obviously. And I just never, obviously I just have no clue where they are now. I mean, that was many, many, many computers ago. That was, I think I was using an old laptop that my dad, my dad's work wasn't using anymore. Is what I think I was using at the time. Like that computer probably doesn't exist in any form anymore.
See, Vanessa Palmer in the chat is saying, I'm so hyped to get the Western release of PSO2. I am too.
Did you see that apparently it's coming to other consoles?
It's coming to other platforms, but they don't know when. We'll see. We'll see. I will play it on whatever releases first, except for, I don't really want to play it on PC very much.
Are you worried about it being free to play?
No, because you'll still need Plus or something.
I don't know if that's true. Like you don't need PlayStation Plus to play Final Fantasy 14 because it's a separate subscription. So you probably do. I mean, I'm not necessarily I don't know what
you'll have to create an account.
I mean, to be honest, I've never really.
But in Japan, it's uses Plus.
I've never really gotten in. But like, you still have to buy the game in Japan, right? Like, free to play to me means that you don't even have to buy the game. As long as you've got Plus, you can play it, or Gold, or whatever. Is the game even on Xbox in Japan?
Probably not.
I wonder.
I don't know. I can see myself getting the Xbox version though. Like, there's something like I could see myself.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of equate like I kind of think of Xbox like I don't know. I kind of equate it. You know, a lot of people call the Xbox Dreamcast too. You know. And I feel like a lot of Sega's like the vibe of game that Sega was making in the Dreamcast era, I feel like those are the games that they put a lot of on the original Xbox. You know?
Yeah.
And two, like the button locations on the Dreamcast.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah, I can.
Drum pointed out to me when we were streaming a few weeks ago, we were using the 8BitDo M30s, and he just bought one because he really liked it when he came over here, and this might be a simple thing, but this blew my mind. He said, like, I never realized this until just now, but like the whole messed up button placement of ABXY on, you know, modern controllers, you know, Xbox controllers and other controllers that are designed for PC use, you know, that are not the Nintendo standard. Like, why did, if they're going to use letters, why did they do them exactly the opposite way from Nintendo to just make it as confusing as possible? Man, I'm playing really lousy lately.
I think it makes sense.
But anyway, well, but if you cover up the C and the Z on a Genesis 6 button or a Saturn controller,
yeah, it's ABXY, yeah.
Yeah, it's the same layout. Like I never thought of that.
Yep.
It's in the same order.
I want to get another M30, but I really want to get a white one because I want to mix and match between the two. I have two of the black M30s, and I don't want to get another one. But what I want to do is I want to take one black one and one white one and put the black buttons in the white bodied one, and the white buttons and the black bodied one, so that I can have like three unique looking controllers. Mm-hmm. You know, one for my Genesis, one for my Master System, one for my Mega SG.
I really need to get a Bluetooth one because Drum and Lynn and I played Toe Jam and Earl on the Switch, and I was like, oh, I wish we could play with the M30s. Drum thought you could use it as a USB controller on the Switch, but I tried. I couldn't figure out a way to make it work.
Oh, I don't know.
That would have been pretty awesome.
And Cheesemeister in the chat says, I swapped the AV and X and Y buttons on a Dreamcast controller once in protest.
I mean, that's like, I salute you and your sentiment. But then you've got the issue of, you know, the button prompts won't match up correctly, or, you know, obviously that doesn't change the actual location of the buttons in that case. So, man, this part is really annoying.
Yeah, I mean, I really want to get a white one, but they've been out on Amazon for a long time. I actually had one ordered, and it said we won't be able to fulfill this. We're canceling your order. But I think Play Asia has the like the Japanese versions of it. If you don't mind paying, like waiting for the that shipment to come. Pretty sure they did. Let me see if they still have them.
I'm just doing terrible.
Yeah, they do have the white one, and it comes in like the Japanese style box. Kind of cool. It's $29.99.
Which system is your Bloodstain coming for?
I think it's PS4.
Same.
Because the Switch wasn't even out.
Yeah, part of me kind of wants the Switch version now, but yeah, I'm sure it's gonna look better on the PS4. It'll probably be smoother. I don't know. I mean, it looks like with the new the 2D platforming ukulele, the ukulele and the impossible layer.
Right.
They're kind of making Switch the lead platform, which makes sense. I mean, obviously there is a resonance with the Nintendo audience and Playtonic, obviously.
Right.
Like they said, because I tuned into the Nintendo Treehouse every once in a while last week, and they were playing that, and they said that even though ukulele came out on the Switch quite a bit later, it actually did very well for them. Or maybe I read that somewhere else. I don't know if it was on the Treehouse, but apparently they're like kind of treating the Switch as the lead platform. So they're targeting 60 frames on the Switch. So.
Mm-hmm. I do want to play the first one.
I wonder what you'd think of it, because you've never really played a game like that, right?
Not like extensively, no.
I mean, like the closest thing on like PlayStation would be like Spyro.
Right.
But even that's very different from Rare's games.
Yeah. Hardcore is in the chat is asking what our thoughts on the end of Xbox backwards compatibility for this generation.
I was definitely kind of sad by it, because like if it wasn't for the fact that, I mean, they had some really good stuff with the last one. Actually, some stuff that I just recently bought, like I mean, when I say good stuff, I don't know if good is the word, because some of them was like Too Human and Infinite Undiscovery, which I don't think are too popular. But they're games I've always been curious about, and I actually bought them.
Well, Too Human is free.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I mean, they're games that I bought recently, so I was like, oh, like just games I've always been curious about. I think they had something. I know I installed 3 or 4 games that I already had when they went live. But I feel they did a tremendous job with the Xbox 360. Like there's not, I don't think there's a lot of regrets there in terms of what they were able to achieve with 360 backwards compatibility. But I feel like what they did with the original Xbox was just not enough.
Yeah, I would have liked.
I mean, my hope is
at least like
that
just
when
that radio feature,
when Project Scarlet releases, that they will. What I'm guessing is they're probably putting it on hold for the rest of this generation so that they can ensure that everything on Xbox One works correctly on Scarlet. Because I would imagine they're going for essentially 100% compatibility.
right?
So, so maybe they're just playing on a hole, but like I would like after Scarlet is out, like I would I would like them to, pick that back up and revisit original Xbox. I know Phil Spencer said that, like, the way that contracts were done back in those days, like, some games they don't even know where the contracts are. They don't even know how to get the rights. So, but I can't imagine it's like that. They surely could have done a little better than what they've gotten already. It's just not enough. And what I've seen is really cool. Like, I really like what they did with the backwards compatibility.
Yeah, it's been surprisingly amazing.
It's impressive. Like, it is. From what I've played, it's pretty flawless. My understanding is that there is actually some degree of Xbox 360 hardware in the system, which, apparently they were going to have backwards compatibility from the beginning, so that would make sense why there would be stuff in the system. But apparently, like, the backlash, like, and all the backpedaling they had to do, like, before launch, caused them to just they had to reprioritize what they were doing before launch, and they just couldn't get backwards compatibility ready in time.
Mm-hmm.
But, oh my gosh, I finished the level. I was all set to give up.
You did it. Yeah, persistence.
It was a short level, actually. No boss. I don't think I'm going to beat this, though. Like, this is pretty neat. Like, I'm not feeling super engaged with it, but again, like, it's obviously very inspired by Turrican, and tonight I've put more time into this than I've ever put into a Turrican game, but I've just never been able to get too invested in Turrican, even though I really want to, because I love running gun shooters, but I just can't put my finger on what it is.
What do you think about Contra?
Me?
The new Contra.
Oh, the new Contra? It's a little ugly. I'm open to it because, John
was saying it doesn't seem great right now.
I definitely want to want it. I would be happy to be proven wrong. But yeah, I'm just not sure there.
Yeah, it seems like if they really wanted to get people excited, they would have had something a bit more traditional.
Yeah,
this kind of revival. The first one for the revival.
It's definitely rather low budget looking.
Yeah. It does. It looks like Neo Contra 2, which, we like Neo Contra, but
the tone feels a little off though. It's like, I've never seen Suicide Squad, but like it looks like the characters are like invoking that kind of tone.
Yeah, just kind of a bizarre look to them.
Yeah.
Or just over like weirdness to it. Yeah. So I got a DM on our Twitter that the actor Neil Ross is going to be at the 2019 Cincinnati Comic Expo.
I know that name, but I'm drawing a blank on who that is.
It's the guy that we thought is the voice of the Game Players game tapes.
Oh, that's right. Oh, you.
So I feel like I should go and maybe talk to him some more about it.
He will like be so creeped out.
Yeah.
Wonder if this could be the final boss. There's like more levels, but
yeah, there's no way this is the final boss. I feel like this game is probably pretty long.
I don't know. I was assuming it wouldn't be that long.
Oh yeah. Oh, Too Many Games is this coming weekend?
Is it really?
Yeah.
It's obviously, you know, fallen pretty far off our radar. I mean, not that. I mean, I would like to go if the timing made sense, but it just feels like we have a hard time making that timing work for us anymore.
Yeah. There was some talk earlier about the Terra Onion announcement is supposed to happen tomorrow. Like nobody knows what they're gonna be announcing something big with a direct tomorrow.
Oh, a direct.
Yeah. So I'm excited to see what it ends up being. They've been talking about it a lot. Oh, we got another $9.99 from Scott Davis. Says with backwards compatibility ending on the Xbox. Bumps me out to the Xbox Evil Dead games. Nor Advent Rising did not get included yet. What are games you wish you could have made the cut? I mean, I don't even know the exact full list, but
I mean, there's definitely some good stuff. Like, I mean, the BioWare games are on there, which I'm pretty happy about. Like, that's definitely how I plan to play those games. I don't know why I'm drawing a blank, but the original Xbox list is not very extensive, unfortunately.
Yeah, let me. Is Brute Force on there?
I'm not sure. I mean, my original Xbox collection is.
Oh yeah, Outrun 2006. Is Outrun 2 even on there at all?
Oh, I don't think so. I'm pretty sure.
See, that's one that would be nice. That'd be a nice consolation prize for the Outrun Arcade Online being pulled off the store, but maybe they couldn't do it because of that.
You think it's like music? Is it a music thing?
No, it's a Ferrari thing.
Oh. I mean, I haven't played the game, so I don't know what the music is in it.
What about Gun Valkyrie? Is that on there?
I don't think it is.
Brute Force is not, sadly. What? I mean, that was the Halo killer. Every game was every first-person console game that was coming out at the time was the Halo killer.
Yeah. Killzone, Black.
Yeah.
Oh, that was a really short level.
What about the Max Payne games? Are the Max Payne games on there?
Maybe one of them, but I'm not sure.
Because I know that Max Payne, like, they're both backwards compatible on the 360. Nope, they're not. That would be. Have you ever played any of the Max Payne games?
I haven't.
Oh, they're awesome. And even the third one. The third one is it kind of goes in a weird
game, right? Isn't it?
Yeah, it goes in a weird direction with the story.
That's the one where he like has a beard, right?
Yeah, and he shaves his head and stuff. Like, yes, I mean, it was really, really fun to play.
Was that one? Were any of them but the original done by?
Yeah, 1 and 2 was done by Sam Lake, or done by Remedy. I don't think that the second one is as good as the first one. But yeah, I mean, they're all awesome games. They are just really, really fun to play.
Did you play the Xbox versions?
Yes, I have both the Xbox versions. I recommend getting those over the PS2 versions.
What was I gonna say? You know, there's that new Remedy game called Control.
Oh, Control, which I think it looks awesome.
Yeah, I think it looks good too. I don't remember.
I still have to play Quantum Break. I
haven't played Quantum Break either. I played like I was playing to play like just a bit of it, to record footage for the 4K episode. I ended up playing kind of I ended up playing like an hour of it because it was pretty awesome. Like I think from based on what I've played, I think you're really gonna like it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think I've really played a Remedy game that I didn't like. I mean, I love the Alan Wake.
They're a hit and miss developer with people.
Yeah.
But like I think I've only really played Alan Wake, and American Nightmare, which I love.
Wait, have you not played through Alan Wake, or you played through it?
Oh yeah, I played both. I played them on PC.
Oh, okay.
That was like during my phase where I was playing.
You're playing a lot of stuff.
Playing quite a few games on PC.
Yeah, you should. If you see Max Payne 1 and 2 for the Xbox, definitely get them.
There's kind of like a lot of, I mean, you know, not that I should judge a game I haven't played, but there's kind of some throwaway Star Wars games on there, on the backwards compatibility list. Like, I mean, obviously, you know, the BioWare games I would say are no.
Is Jedi Knight 2 on there?
It might be. I don't know. I think they have like is it like I forget if it's called A-Wing or if it just has an A-Wing on the cover. But I want to say I think I had that game for PS2 at one point. I did not play it very much.
What the heck? Like I was kind of looking through my backlog rate game list for the Xbox. For some reason I have 3 stars on Panzer Dragoon Orta. Like, I wonder if that was a mistake.
Yeah, I very rarely rate a game on the backlog rate anymore unless
same.
Unless I play it and it's just like I don't even have to think about this was a absolute 5-star game.
Yeah.
But like when I look at a lot of the ratings that are on my backlog, I'm like, man, I like a few years ago, I was so much more critical than I am now. Like, I'm pretty easygoing now. Like, I mean,
yeah.
Like, even if I don't like love a game, I'm like, oh, you know, I mean, there's value in it for someone. you know, I'm just like, I'm not. I just have no real desire to like tear apart a game unless I just like really didn't like it. I mean, you know, I'm not afraid to say like these are my problems with a game, but like I'm not gonna like go on a rant about it.
Yeah, I mean, it's the same way. Let's see what else there is.
Why did it say boss encounter? These are just like normal enemies. I'm confused.
What about is NHL Hits 2003 on there?
You know, when I was working on that on the next script, I was looking at this. Well, it was when you were here a few last month. I picked up a PS2 memory card at the flea market, and it was like it was very stereotypical. You know, it was like a ton of Madden saves, SOCOM 3. It did have Max Payne 1 on it, but that was like the only kind of like gamers game on there, you know?
Yeah.
Like I mean, I don't mean that as a way to like belittle people who love SOCOM, but like, I mean, you know what I mean, right? Like I like SOCOM is like very, you know, just commonly liked by people like who may not be like huge into games. You know,
they like to buy their Maddens and their
Call of Duties. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that, but it was it was certainly not a memory card that will look like my memory card. I'll say that.
Is Dead or Alive Extreme Beach Volleyball on backwards compatibility? Maybe.
It might be. I have.
It's not.
It's not.
Oh well. No.
I feel like I saw the box art for that game on a website not long ago, and so I was like, was it the backwards compatibility list? Because I reference the backwards compatibility list on the Xbox website pretty often. Well, I got over halfway, I guess. Pretty. It looks though like I've done the shortest levels though, because like 2, 6, or 2, 5, and 6 only have a handful of diamonds, but 7, 8, and 9 all have quite a few. So, I mean,
Oh yeah, you can. Blabler, you should be allowed to post a link. I'm pretty sure as a mod, it should let you do it. If it requires me to approve it, then I can do it.
Yeah, that's a pretty neat game. I'm not like, in love with it or anything, but its Turrican inspirations are certainly very clear.
Oh yeah.
So I'm sure someone who is into Turrican would be more able to judge it than me, but
Turrican.
It's certainly a neat thing. Like I respect what it's coming from.
Yeah. 4K streams look worse than 1080p Blu-rays. I have no interest in like the Stadia stuff, like streaming.
Oh anything. Yeah, like I mean, something I keep saying is like, is like anyone asking for that? Like, I feel like it's just something that like the tech companies want because they want to maximize their ownership over their games.
Right.
Which obviously streaming very much does for them. But gosh, it seems like a lot of resources that would be required to run that. And it's always going to, be somewhat compressed. I mean, I'm sure they're going to have pretty good algorithms. I mean, I am A-okay with movie streaming most of the time, especially if it's like I thought the Infinity War that you've got on your Vudu account is the 4K HDR. It looks incredible.
Yeah, but imagine that on a 4K Blu-ray, like even better.
Yeah, probably. But I'm pretty easygoing. I mean, certain movies have bad encoding. I'm like, oh, there's a lot of banning artifacts in this, but I'm just like, I'm not that picky about movies compared to games, I guess. But like, there's always going to be it's never going to be as good as local hardware. And I just I have a hard time imagining that any human that doesn't work for a game company or like the management business levels of a game company is like, yeah, that's something I like. Wouldn't it be great if my games could just be streamed to me and take up all my bandwidth? Like if I could just have 3 more frames of lag, it'd be great. Like I can't.
Some people it's for the people that don't really care that much.
That's true.
They just want one single box. They plug it in and they play the stuff that they want to play.
Yeah.
And I feel like if it goes, if everything is just streaming, I'll probably just
check out.
Yeah, I'll check out, just play anything that I got.
Yeah, I mean, I saw an interview with Phil
Except for
Spencer.
I'll just get one so I can buy the new Madden every year. New Call of Duty.
I saw so apparently Phil Spencer said that oh no, Scarlet is not going to be their last hardware, which is it's good to see because I feel like Sony, Marc Cerny in particular had been saying like, oh, hardware is important, generational refreshes are important, and Microsoft had seemed a little less firm on that, but it's good to see that they think hardware will always have a place. But I'm not worried about the next Xbox and PlayStation 5. I'm sure they're going to be good systems with, and they're going to nail the messaging out the gate because Microsoft screwed up so bad with the Xbox One messaging at the unveil that, both companies know what went right and what went wrong, and they're not going to screw up again. Sony screwed up once, Microsoft screwed up once. They're not going to do it again. Sony screwed up with the early PS3 messaging, and Microsoft screwed up with the early Xbox One messaging. I would say overall Microsoft probably suffered more than Sony did because I feel like PlayStation 3, really made a comeback once they, got the Slim and did the rebranding and all that. But when Xbox One was initially unveiled, and it's like, oh, this is not looking good. Like, they're trying to really take the ownership of your games away from you, and it's got to always be online, and that's bad. And at the time, people thought like, what incentive does Sony have to not do the exact same thing? Because PS4 they hadn't even shown the box yet. They had that press conference where they kind of unveiled it, but not really. They showed knack. So like PS4, like we still didn't really know what to expect from it. And then like at the E3 right after the Xbox One unveil, they just knocked it out of the park. Instead of doing the exact same thing Xbox was doing, they're like, this is stupid, here's how you borrow a game, on PlayStation 4, so they're not going to screw up again. They know what worked. But at the same time, during that period where we weren't sure what Sony was going to do, I was feeling really bummed out that week. Like, gosh, like the future of games is looking pretty grim. Like this could be bad. And like at some point during that week, like before E3, because I want to say it was like maybe a 1 or 2 weeks between the Xbox One unveil and E3. Like I just kind of had this revelation that like, you know what? There are like so many games out there that like if modern gaming became something that I just had no interest in anymore, like I'll still be okay. Like,
yeah. Oh yeah.
Look at what I've got to play. Like it's okay. So like right now I'm excited about the new systems. I don't think they're going to flub anything, but like, there's always the thought in the back of my mind. It's like, oh man, all the AAA companies are pushing for, to be the next Fortnite and whatever. And it's like, I couldn't care less about, like, I was bummed.
It's like when Ninja Theory.
I was going to say the same thing. I was like really bummed out. Cause like, I was like, when they announced Ninja.
That's another one of these.
Yeah, exactly. Like I was, when I think Microsoft got a lot of attention because Microsoft like really shoved first party away this generation. And people thought that was a mistake. And then they announced all these new first-party studios, and people were kind of excited about it. I thought, oh, Ninja Theory, like that actually seems like that studio seems like a good fit for Microsoft. And then, yeah, exactly. Oh, another one of these. Like, I was like, to be honest, I haven't even, I played through Enslaved, but I haven't, like, played through any other Ninja Theory games. But, like, I feel like I like Ninja Theory. I like the idea of Ninja Theory. And now they're making a game that there is absolutely zero way I would have a interest in it. Their first Xbox exclusive. And then it's just like companies like...
I don't really understand why anybody would even want to get into that. Unless they had already been working on it for so long, they just kind of had to go with it.
I know, because
I don't really understand why anybody would want to...
Well, I mean, you look
get into that arena.
You look at BioWare with Anthem, and you look at Bethesda with Fallout 76. Like, like everyone is trying to make, like, because, you know, their parent companies are interested in these games that have this long tail that they can, you know, milk you for a long time, because supposedly people actually pay money in these games for some reason when they do this long tail of content. I don't know. Apparently I wouldn't, but apparently people do. And like, I don't understand why everyone is trying to make the next one, because you look at these major, very visible flops like Anthem and Fallout. It's like you put years of work into this online game and no one likes it. Or people play it, but then they criticize every update you make to the game. Like, they hate every update that you make. Like, where is the incentive to make a game like that when 80% of the time it is not the next Fortnite? You know, like, you're not going to be making a ton of money on it in all likelihood. It seems like a gamble that I don't understand why companies make. Because, like, the chances of your online game catching on just seem so small to me. But I don't know. Maybe they get enough of a dedicated fan base. I just don't have the perspective, because I have zero interest in games where, I mean, I say zero interest. You know, I not that I, like, really play it ever, but I have gotten some enjoyment out of, like, Splatoon. But, like, I could never get... Like, it wouldn't just be like a game that I'm just like playing all the time. Like, I just don't understand. I mean, it's okay. Don't get me wrong. It's okay. I mean, I have the same perspective on, you know, sports. Like you train to be a really good basketball player. You train to be a really good football player, baseball player, soccer player. Like, that is your game. Like, that's what you focus on. Like, you become really good at that sport. And, like, I guess it's probably the same motivation that's drawing people to these games where they just play, you know, these battle royale games all the time, or Call of Duty all the time. Like, that is your game, and you just, like, really want to focus on that and be really good at that. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it, but my brain just does not even begin to process it, because I just do not feel that motivation that people feel. So anyway, that baffles me. But, you know, if there is a day where every game is, you know, a battle royale, I'm not going to cry too much about, because I can play, you know, NES and Genesis and PlayStation 2 and whatever, you know.
Yeah, I mean, I barely even played any new generation stuff. I realized that I basically have not, like, sat down and played any game, like, that I wasn't recording for an episode or, like, doing on a live stream in, like, over 2 months. And it's, like, it's not intentional. It's just, like, this is just what's happened. And I was really... Like, that's why I'm excited for Bloodstained, because I think I'm going to actually just, like, sit down and I'm going to play through it as just, like, a game that I'm going to play.
Yeah. I'm playing to do the same thing. I mean, it's not like for lack of interest in AAA stuff. It's just I have struggled to figure out how to dedicate the time to it lately. But I think I'm, you know, I've been trying really hard lately to get into a better work-life balance schedule sort of thing. And, like, I feel like I've actually been really productive lately. Like, I've gotten a much better place where I'm like, I'm making great progress on this episode, or, well, this documentary, or documentary series rather, is I think it's going to be at this point. I've been feeling really good about the progress I've been making on it. But at the same time, like, I finally started Fire Emblem Fates on 3DS, and like I only started that like a little over 2 weeks ago, and like I've almost beat the game. Like, you know, that's a strategy RPG. It's not a short game. Like, I'm like 42 hours into it, I think.
Dang.
And like, I'm like really proud of myself. Like I've only been playing it like like I've been trying to like cut off work at dinner time, like, because I think that's a big problem that I have, is like when you work for yourself, like it's really hard, I think, to like to convince yourself like it's okay to stop. And
right.
like I feel like sometimes that's why I just like struggle with work so much and struggle with getting things done efficiently, is because I'm just like working so hard all the time, and then I kind of just like get a little burnt out for a while. And I think it's just because I need to take the evenings off as much as I possibly can, and that's what I've been doing lately, and I have like felt so much better, while at the same time my productivity's been going up. But I've like almost beat an RPG too. So that like makes me feel like really positive. Like I can do this. Like a 40-hour game, like just think about how much more quickly I could get done a 15, 20, 30-hour game and still get my work done. Like I'm feeling positive about this. So, so now lately I've been thinking like, oh, like maybe I'll actually get to the new God of War, or whatever else I've, got on my shelf and have neglected.
Well, that's kind of been like, I've been the other way around in that, when I finish up for the day, I don't feel like playing a game at all. Like I just want to hang out with my wife.
Well, but I think with you, with your family and everything, like it's easier for you to be like, well, like I have to stop because I can't just be literally working all the time, because there's like other human beings.
I basically was.
Yeah, but you can't do that every week.
I finished that a week ahead of time too.
Yeah, but you can't do it like every week all the time either. Like, I mean, there's other human beings like counting on you,
Right.
Like for me, it's like, it's like sometimes it's just hard to convince yourself that it's like, not only is it okay to like stop working, but like you need to, and your work will be better for it.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
But I've just been trying really hard to get myself in a better place on that, and it's going really good. I'm really happy. So
I mean, you had a bunch of like other little plans and stuff that you thought would maybe jumpstart that, but they didn't work out in the same way as you were expecting to.
Right, but I've definitely got a good groove right now, and I'm feeling really. I'm like I've actually gotten to the point where this documentary series that has been such an intimidating mountain to climb, like I've just been scared of it, and like now I'm like, not only like feeling good about the progress I'm making, and not only feeling less intimidated by the size, but I'm like actually like, you know what? Like I'm kind of excited about how big this is. Like I think people are going to like really like how much content this is going to be. Like I'm feeling excited about the scope of it now. Like I'm feeling good.
Yeah.
So I saw we got a donation. I think it was a $1.
Yeah, it was somebody joined the Patreon.
Oh, I forget that Patreon.
Speaking of which, we gotta record some video logs. We're
almost running short already.
Well, no, we got this week, and we have one that I can still do, but I kind of want to hold off on that a little bit. So this week I did a video log on I was reading through the Master System Compendium.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a lot of fun. I read through like half of it, and I think that the second half, I've talked to Joe from GameSack, and we're going to go through the other portion of it. Just like I'm going to get him on Skype, and we'll just kind of, I'll send him a feed of my camera, and I just want to use it as an excuse to just kind of talk about Master System games with somebody that likes the Master System.
Yeah.
So I can need to record that in next couple of weeks. But I need to, we need to think about our video log situation. I really wanted to get like all the video logs for the entire summer done ahead of time, but
yeah, well, we should like record some more audio commentaries and stuff like that.
Yeah,
when we get
definitely.
A chance.
Yep. All right, is that going to do it?
Yeah, I guess so.
You got anything else you want to?
Oh, there was another Patreon. Wow, thank you.
Oh, we got Clockwork Bard is in the Patreon. Yeah. Patreons.
Yeah, you get those video logs. What are we still doing every Thursday?
Yeah, I mean, we've seriously been like pretty consistent. There is like, I feel like there's like almost like 70 exclusive videos for supporters now.
I mean, to be clear, they're very easy to make, not high production value sorts of things, but they're all kinds of things.
Like they're like almost every single one of them. They're like between 20 minutes to 45 minutes.
And I mean, it's like unboxings and magazine reads and audio commentaries.
It's just like stuff that we feel like people can get to know us a little bit better. Yeah. And we joked it in a lot of ways. Like the stuff we do for like the exclusive videos is like some channels' entire content.
Which, I mean, hey, that's fine, because most channels got to release content, quickly, and so I can understand, but but at the same time, like it's usually stuff like, hey, it's just something I feel like doing, but it's like it wouldn't fly as main content on our channel.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Like, it's not what people expect from us, I guess.
Yeah, but I guess it just shows a different side.
Yeah.
Of us, which I think is fun. More of a casual, just like, hey, we'll talk about it and reminisce. A channel that I really like everyone knows like that I'm a big fan of Classic Gaming Quarterly, but he has a side channel where it's like a lot of stories and stuff like that called CGQ Plus, and like the stuff that he does on there, I love. Just like putting it on, I almost like listen to his audio only a lot of times. Like when I drove back from visiting you last month, I listened to like his entire flashback series, like on the entire drive.
Oh, basically. Wow. Is there a podcast version, or were you just listening to the
there's not a podcast version, but I've told him that he should do it. I think that they would go over really well. He's just a very good speaker.
Oh yeah.
He's very clear, and he just comes up with a lot of stuff like in the moment.
That's awesome.
But if you haven't checked out CGQ Plus, you should definitely check it out. But we got
$5 right at the end
from Brandon Pierce saying our HD CRTs the best displays for 6th gen consoles. I quite like the way they look on my OLED.
By 6th gen, I don't usually call gens in numbers. Is that like PS2 era? I'm not sure. I'm guessing that's like PS2, GameCube, Xbox. I don't really recommend HD CRTs because they're an analog display technology, but they are digital TVs. So you don't really get the advantages of either. Like, if you were to play an HD console on HD CRT, it's not going to be as clear or as sharp as on a fixed pixel display, like an LCD or an OLED. Whereas, you try to play a 240p console, an HD CRT isn't going to have scan lines in the same sense as a regular CRT.
That just looks kind of mushy.
We've got a Patreon train going on here. Thank you all very much. Lost my train of thought. Yeah, so it's not quite like 240p games are better off, I think, on a standard CRT, and like 480i is going to be de-interlaced. Now you might like that, there may be some lag involved. I think generally speaking, they're probably relatively fast. I mean, I wasn't really looking for lag at the time I got my HD CRT. It wasn't something I really thought about. And I played a lot of PS2 and GameCube games on it. Of course, GameCube, I had the component cables, so they were de-interlaced. They were most of the time they were progressive. but PS2, most of the time that's interlaced. I remember it looking pretty good. So I mean, I don't know. Like, I guess I feel like the only thing they might look really good for, they probably look best for 480i content, I guess, if you don't like the flicker look of a traditional CRT. But I feel like overall there are few advantages to HD CRTs and a lot of downsides. So the main disadvantage being they're gigantic. I do not regret getting rid of mine. I don't.
And you have space for it.
Oh, I did have space for it, but I felt like the space it was taking up took away from me doing other things with that space that I would have rather done. So.
Oh, I see. I see Mitch B is saying it says 2-chip SNES. Like, makes me think about the comment that our good friend Firebrand X left on the video today, saying I noticed the jail bars on the Genesis and the softer early Super Nintendo SNES. RGB, and it was actually intentional. Like, I specifically used my childhood systems for this episode.
Oh, okay, that makes sense. That's that's the director's touch, right?
Yeah, like only I would know, but I intentionally went.
Well, you have actually kind of been into the 2-chip look lately. Like, you've like kind of convinced yourself.
But now
like,
I'm kind of like you're back like off it again a little bit now.
Yeah,
I've kind of moved away again.
You kind of talked me into it for a brief time where you were talking like, that's just the Super Nintendo look. And I had mine hooked up for a little while, but I got tired of the blurriness pretty quick, and I've got my modded mini back in place now. So
yeah,
but
it's okay to switch it up.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, Super Nintendo that's easy to do because it uses the same connections. So I do switch it up every now and then. So. All right. Well, I guess we'll finally say good night, I suppose.
Yeah.
Finally.
Thanks for everybody for hanging out, and thanks for donations, and we will see you soon. I'm glad that everyone enjoyed the episodes, and
we'll certainly
we'll see. Maybe there'll be a B-roll live stream this week. We'll see.
All right.
We will see. Thanks for hanging out, everybody. We'll see you soon.
Good night.
Take care.